guys, Bernard here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you once again for joining me. It's good to see you again. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, hey! Of course, let's take care of the housekeeping rules before we move forward with the pop talk. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's free, won't cost you a thing. And while you're at it, stay till the end and hit the like button. Leave me a comment as well. I'd love to hear from you. So I was away again. I know I didn't plan on it, but life happens, and so I went on a little getaway trip with my husband, and I also went away on a family trip as well, and with our son involved. Now, if you're following me on all my social media platforms, Bernard TV, across the board, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you would see those things. Do so, and you'll get to see all the behind the scenes things of the things that I do in my daily life. Let's jump right into the topics because we've got a lot to cover. So I wanted to come back and talk to you first and foremost because I didn't have a chance to cover it in the past about the Stephon Clarke situation, the young black man that was shot in California 20 times in the back in his grandmother's backyard. Now, this story is much like the rest, and I'm not desensitized to it. I'm actually quite furious about the fact that these things are continuing to happen. So a little backstory about it. There was a call made about someone vandalizing property, and the police came out. Helicopters were swarming and all that. The police came out and they just happened to see this young man, and he ran. He ran from them. They pursued it after him, and then he appeared to be pulling out something from his pocket, which we now learn is a cell phone. But of course the police thought it was a gun, and so they shot him down like a dog. What they also did after shooting him is handcuffed him. Then they turned off the cameras on their body cams. Then they did not call for the ambulance to come. So he died there. And, the coroner report showed that if he would have received medical help 20 minutes prior, he would have survived. So of course the country is in uproar about this again, but I felt like it didn't really get a lot of media coverage. Like when these things happen, there's lots of movements and uprisings about them, and then there's the hashtags, and I think because it's been happening so much, we've kind of gotten to a place of desensitization. And I wanted to really talk to you about this story because I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing it, sporadically, but it wasn't like on a larger scale as far as I'm concerned. I was talking to a very close friend of ours while we were away on our family trip because I like to engage with, different audiences when it comes to these hot button topics. And he's a law enforcement official, and he enlightened me a lot. One of the things he was saying is that as far as the police are concerned and the district attorney, not the district attorney, the attorney general is concerned, which is where they receive their orders from, the scale on which the police can claim that they feel threatened is so large. Like anything you do, they can say, I feel threatened by that, because the goal is for the police officers to make it home to their families at night. And so what that means is by any means necessary. Anything that they think threatens them, they have the right to shoot you, to kill you. Because my argument is always, why don't they shoot to injure? Like, you don't have to shoot someone in the chest, in the back. You could shoot them in the leg, you could shoot them in the hand. If they're coming towards you with a knife, you could shoot. And so he was saying, well, the chances of you shooting towards a hand or a leg, you can miss a lot of times. And so that's why they train you to shoot in the body in this area. And essentially, the police officers' lives are more important than whoever they come in contact with. And he was saying even further, like if you talk to the family members of these officers, yeah, they're going to agree that I would rather my husband or my dad home versus whoever they shot down on the street. And I was just like, man, and the other thing that he stressed in the conversation was that that's why it's so important to vote on the local level, because that's where changes are really made. That's where laws are implemented a lot. That's where you're really affected. So, again, guys, I stress November is coming soon. Before you know it, spring does not want to show itself. We are still experiencing winter-like temperatures. And then before you know it, it'll be November again. And so that's something we really, really need to focus on and make our voices heard, because he's in law enforcement and he's giving me, firsthand information. And I was like, man, here I am thinking that my argument of shoot to injure is valid. And he was like, no, it's not. that was really, really shocking to hear. In other shocking news, the March for Our Lives occurred, and you know, that was a few weeks ago, of course, but I thought I would share just my thoughts on how powerful it was for our country just to see the young people. You know, the future does look bright. If these are the kids that's going to be running our country moving forward, we should really be in good standing, because as far as social justice is concerned, they really took on the challenge, and they are saying, you know what, no more, because our generation is seriously being impacted and we need to take a stand. The young lady, Naiomi Walder, was 11 years old, and she was giving this powerful speech, and she was representing the audience of the forgotten African-American girls and women who experience gun violence on a consistent basis, but they're not usually the ones making the headlines. Then also very powerfully spoken, Emma Gonzalez, who's one of the leaders of the March for Our Lives movement. Her speech lasted 6 minutes and 20 seconds to signify the length of time that it took for the shooter to commit all the murders. She said what she needed to say, and for 4 minutes and 25 seconds, she remained silent, and all she did was cry. And that gave me chills. And I know that it sent such shockwaves through the audience as well, because it's one thing in retrospect to hear the number, like it took him 6 minutes and 20 seconds to shoot everybody. But when you have to really stand there and embrace that moment, and she did it so poignantly, it really allows you to understand the level of trauma that they have experienced. Also a part of the march, of course, and spoke as well, was David Hogg, who, by the way, applied to several colleges in California, UCLA, UC Berkeley, all the UCs, and he was rejected by all of them with a 4.2 GPA, a super activist, someone who anybody would want to have at their university, right? Because it's all about, like, what are you going to do after, the impact you're going to have. You know, when you think about who your alums are, you want them to be making amazing shockwaves around the world, like amazing impact around the world. And he has done that, and is not even a college student as yet. So what will he be doing when he's received a college education? They decided that no, they don't want him at his school. And, you know, he's really not concerned about it. But someone that was very concerned about the fact that he did not get into these schools was Laura Ingraham, and she decided to tweet about the fact that he was being whiny and almost made it seem like a 4.2 GPA was so insignificant. Like, it was just 4.2 GPA. Like, what's the big deal? I mean, nobody accepted him. Woohoo, woe is me, you know? And being the brilliant young man that he is, he researched all of the advertisers that sponsor her show, and he called them out in a tweet. He was like, hey, you know, you guys are supporting a woman who is bullying, you know, and he made a very strong case as to why they should drop her from, you know, their advertising packages. And let me tell you, she apologized immediately, because, you know, of course, when you're messing with the coins, honey, you got to apologize even though you're not really sorry, because then your job is in jeopardy. So, hey, that's what she did. He isn't really accepted because he knows that it's not genuine. That's understood, that it's not coming from a genuine place. It's really from financial backing. It's like, protect your bottom line place is where that's coming from. So let's switch gears to the face biting incident that supposedly happened between Beyonce and Sanaa. Now, months ago, this story was swirling when Tiffany Haddish went to an event, and she talked about that she almost had to fight somebody for Beyonce, and then Beyonce came out with this song with DJ Khaled, and she was saying that, you know, anybody want to party with me, they got to sign an NDA. And so the story kind of died down, but then it resurfaced, and someone was named in the face biting incident, and it supposedly is Sanaa. So Tiffany Haddish was at this party with Beyonce, and supposedly somebody was talking to Jay-Z a little too close. The Beyonce went over there to kind of address the situation, and apparently the person bit her on the face, and then Tiffany was going to fight her, and then Beyonce was like, no, she's on drugs, just leave her alone. Everybody is so caught up in the fact that Beyonce supposedly got bitten on the face, but what I'm focusing more on is Sanaa on drugs, because she is the person that they're saying that did the face biting. And then according to what Tiffany Haddish said, Beyonce said don't beat her up because she's on drugs. So I'm like, oh my goodness, is Sanaa on drugs? I'm more concerned about that. So does anybody know? And if you do, tell me. I mean, people were saying that, you know, well, she's one of the prominent actresses in Hollywood, and she hasn't really done anything significant recently, like, so this can have some truth to it. I don't know, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you think one who might be on drugs is Tyga. I mean, of course we know he might smoke a little pot or something, but he must be on something even more, because he's being sued by Simon Cowell's ex-fiance for not paying rent. $40,000 a month. He's been renting this mansion from this woman, and he has not paid rent. But here's an interesting story about this, is that his son is also being sued because he put his son on the lease, which is what I'm saying. He's on something a little more than weed, because why would you put your kid's name, this kid King Kyra that he has with Black Chyna, he put his name on the doggone lease, and now they both got to go to court. What is a little toddler boy gonna say to defend himself? Where's he gonna get $40,000 from to pay this rent back? This is why children grow up having bad credit and have no idea why. Because from infancy, their parents have used their social security numbers to do all kinds of things that they had no business doing, and then the children have to suffer the consequences. Listen, Tyga, get it together. For the longest, we have been hearing about you and financial problems, and then he's rolling around in all these brand new cars. It's like your priorities are all screwed up. Like, you want to live in a fancy car or a house? You decide, but take your kid off the lease and figure the situation out, because it's very messy. Another messy situation that happened has to do with Tyga's baby mama, Black Chyna, who's also the baby mama of Rob Kardashian. Now, she was in Six Flags and she got into what people are referring to as a brawl. And from the video that I saw, I don't really think it was a brawl. And I have to say this, and I'm really not a fan of these people and the things that they do. But on this one, Chyna, I'm on your side, girl. And I don't think I'm gonna ever have to say that again unless you get into another fight where you are protecting your child. But listen. So she was at Six Flags and someone saw a baby who they claimed that they didn't know was Black Chyna's baby, but that's a lie. And they decided to rub on the baby's hands. Now, the baby was being observed or cared for at the moment by the babysitter, and who reported the story to Chyna, and then Chyna went ham. Okay, here's why I agree with her, because I've been in a situation like this before. Now, I didn't throw strollers and I didn't have to fight people, but I certainly yelled. When our son was about 3 months old, we went to the African American Smithsonian Museum down in DC, which just opened. You had to get the tickets and all the buzz was going on. So we take our little 3-month-old baby. We're new parents, and I'm a mama bear, like playing no games. So I'm watching out for all these people. I don't know if you're a pedophile. I don't know if you're a perv. I don't know if you're a kidnapper. I am watching you. So we're with a large group of our friends, and so we kind of split up. My husband had the baby with him, and he's walking ahead, and I caught up with him. He was like, oh my gosh, honey, somebody just came up to me and was like, can I hold your baby? And I was like, oh, kidnapper alert. What person walks up to someone that they don't know with a newborn baby and asks them, can they hold the child? To do what? To go where? Why? That doesn't even make sense. I don't even understand the phenomenon of people thinking that it's okay to touch someone's child without permission, even as far as touching a pregnant woman's stomach without permission. I think it's inappropriate. So, okay, that happens, and we move forward, and we walk, we're walking up into the light, because if you've ever been to the museum, you know that it starts real dark, and as you go up, and you go up, the Lord said, let there be light, okay? And we are literally standing in front of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, and I turn away for a second, and then I look back. And I notice a hand that is not mine or my husband's or anyone else that I was with, whom I know, rubbing my son's stomach, saying, are you the next little president? Are you our next little president? I turned into a beast, and I was like, stop touching. Stop touching. I went off. Okay, people? Now, I try to really keep my composure because, I'm really trying to be like Jesus here. But, with my baby boy, I don't play them games. And so I was like, have you lost your mind? And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to hear sorry. Now, I didn't go Black Chyna crazy and start throwing stuff, but I certainly made it very clear that I do not think it's appropriate for you to be touching my kid. And with that stern voice, yes, she moved away. Here's the thing about this, though. My husband totally implicated me because he knew that I was going to lose it. So he set that lady up. Okay, he let her fall into the trap of thinking that, ooh, I'm going to rub on this little baby's belly here and tell him that he might be the next president. And as soon as my wife turns around and see this, you're about to get it. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I'm not condoning violence. So I don't think that she should have picked up. from the way it looked, she didn't really hit the woman. I mean, she could barely lift the stroller up in the first place to like swing it. She tried it 2 times and it was unsuccessful. That's neither here nor there. I'm not condoning violence on any level. I think the approach that I had, which is a good stern yelling, fixes the job all the time. But, you know, what was the role of babysitter? Because you can't possibly tell me that I'm hiring you to oversee my child and someone is able to get that close to them, you're fired. Bodyguards, where were you? Why was someone able to get so close, too close for comfort? Everybody's fired, and that's that. So it seems to be the season of babies because Cardi B revealed that she is pregnant finally. So, you know, rumors have been swirling all the way back to Super Bowl weekend when it was alleged that she didn't want to be around the drinking and the partying. She wanted to be in like a private, secluded space in one of the clubs because she's pregnant. Now, they've been trying to cover this up for the longest, and finally, you know, she was wearing all these hidden outfits and covering the bump, and they just didn't leave it alone. They kept saying she's pregnant, she's pregnant, she's pregnant. Okay, she is pregnant. She revealed on SNL when she was performing. In her second performance, she was wearing this custom white Christian Siriana dress, and then boom shakalaka, here comes the belly. She's pregnant. She's due in the first week of July. And of course, people comparing her reveal to Beyonce and how Beyonce revealed the pregnancy of Blue Ivy on the VMAs or whatever that award show was. I don't think it's neither here nor there. I don't feel like they need to bring Beyonce into the mix. And of course, Beyonce's in the conversation again too, because she was supposed to be performing at Coachella last year, but she didn't because she was pregnant with the twins, and now Cardi B is actually pregnant with the one child, but she's still going to do Coachella next week. And she's also younger. She's 25. I'm not saying that she could handle it. I don't think she knows what she can handle because she's never been pregnant before, but she's certainly doing it. I mean, the truth is she's got to ride this wave. Pregnant or not, she's got to really figure this out because, you know, I was talking to you guys about it in a previous video, and I was saying, hey, you know, it's unfortunate that as you're rising in your career and to reach certain levels of success, you've got to put a family on pause. Now, she's saying at the Breakfast Club in the interview she had recently with them, she said that, you know, it's an unplanned pregnancy, and they asked her if she considered abortion. And that idea was toyed with a little bit, but she decided not to go forth with it. Totally understandable. I mean, listen, if you're doing things to get pregnant, you've got to deal with the consequences. I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. And, you know, I mean, Offset clearly is a sharpshooter because this is his 4th baby, supposedly 5th baby on the way, because remember, he was cheating on her and he might have gotten that girl pregnant too, and all baby mamas are not the same. It's like, wow. Okay, so, you know, she claims that she will be on the Bruno Mars tour and that she will work up until she gives birth. She also co-hosted with Jimmy Fallon, the first guest to co-host with him ever, and she did it for the entire show. She also performed. She is winning. I mean, you can't take it away from her. Her album dropped this week as well. It went gold immediately. So she is attaining high levels of success very quickly, and now she's pregnant and she's about to have a family. We'll have to watch and see if it slows her down, if it affects any of her earning powers, but hey, keep going, Cardi. In other pregnancy news, Jeremy Meeks, aka Hot Felon, the guy with the eyes and the teardrop under it, which alleges that he killed somebody. Okay, so he has impregnated the heiress of the Top Shelf empire. Now, Jeremy Meeks is a model. He has a successful modeling career now as a result of a mugshot. He went to jail for some firearm possessions things, and he was married to this woman. He had some children with her, got out, relationship went south, they're divorced, had a total come up. Now he's basically going to be married to this girl because her family wants them to get married. Because she's an heiress, and it's like, okay, they're really not gonna leave her out here being a baby mama, so they're gonna get married. I mean, listen, smart move, dude. I'm not knocking his hustle because women do it all the time. They elevate themselves, and he saw an opportunity and he took it. And so, you know, it's unfortunate that he left his family in the manner that he did, but you know, it happens. In other pregnancy news, and as well, we're gonna get into our reality roundup. And of course, you guys know that I talk about 2 reality shows at a time because that's all I can handle. And so Housewives of Atlanta and Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine has wrapped. Housewives of Atlanta is in its reunion phase. And so phase 1, reunion part 1, was aired. You know, it had its moments. It was kind of dry sometimes. And then when Marlon came out, honey, she brought the drama. Her and Kenya got into it. And then Kenya revealed that she is expecting, we weren't sure. It was kind of like there will be a child on the way at the end of the year, a boy or a girl, but she didn't say specifically that I am pregnant. We do know that she has received IVF and she's been trying to conceive. But we're not sure if she's actually carrying the baby. People were thinking, well, maybe it might be a surrogate. She has said it's not going to be a surrogate. So we'll just have to watch and see for the next few months if her belly grows. I mean, there's other ways to have a child. It could be through adoption. We're not sure. People are still kind of suspecting that her husband may not be real or whatever, but she's in love, she's happy, and you know, we're just gonna have to watch and see. Let's let it all unfold. Sheree was a little sketchy. I mean, she just really wasn't like holding her own like she usually would, and so that's how you know she was kind of telling lies, because this whole Tyrone thing, it's alleged that he's not even going to be coming out this year like she thought he would be. I think he's going to be coming out in 2022, which is a very long time away from now. So I don't know if she's going to want to wait. But she also didn't have a concrete answer when Andy asked her if she's wearing She by Sheree, and she was like, no, it's She by Versace, whoever she was wearing. And she was saying that, you know, he's like, so when are you gonna launch She by Sheree? And then she said joggers, and he was like, what? And she said, oh, it's gonna be an athleisure line. So now it's an athleisure line. Sheree is confused. She don't know what's gonna happen. But next week is gonna be full of drama because Kim is gonna join the couch and her and Nene are going to go at it. Eva's also gonna get in there and just kind of recap her first reunion show or first season on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Very funny though, Marlon Wayans went on Instagram and he got a screen grab of Kim from next week's episode looking a crazy, just injected lip and face and just wow. And he was like, we are not in taping of White Chicks 2, which is one of my favorite movie ever, okay? But she felt very offended. She was saying that she really loves him. Their family loves that movie. And she also even tried to compare the fact that he referred to her in that way to the Time's Up movement. Like, oh, no, not Time's Up movement, the Me Too movement. She's like, oh, in this Me Too movement, you know, it's very inappropriate what he's doing. Excuse me, the Me Too movement and him making jokes about your facial features due to lots of plastic surgery are two totally separate issues, and you have clearly missed the whole idea of what the Me Too movement is about, because it has nothing to do with people who have had plastic surgery and that people are making fun of them. Okay, Kim, yeah, you might want to reconsider that. That is all the pop talk that I have for you guys. Thank you for tuning in once again. As usual, I want to hear your pop thoughts. Subscribe, like, comment, engage with me. I want to keep bringing you fabulous videos and keeping you up to date of what's going on in the entertainment and pop culture world. So, chat with me. And until next time, darlings, ciao!